Hello YouTube, hope you're all well. To all our subscribers, welcome back. Anybody who's new to the channel, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be discussing the mighty Rolex Submariner. We'll be discussing the history, some of the models and some of the nicknames that those models have earned. So I'm going to grab a coffee, sit back, enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the other side. So I've got my coffee here. Sorry if it looks like a bit of a cooking video, but I fancied a bit of a change of scenery. This is our canteen area at the offices where we make all our drinks. So today, what have I got with me? I have got that's right, two Rolex Submariners. We're going to be going through the differences in the Rolex Submariners, and we're just going to be going through some of the different types of Submariners, some of the models and things like that. So today, the models I have with me are, I have a no-date Rolex Submariner with a black dial, and I have the 116610 LV Rolex Hulk. Right, before we go on guys, I just want to talk a little bit about the history of the Rolex and back to some basics. So some people who may be new to the Rolex Submariner, I can't imagine it's a lot of people out there, but some of you may be. The Rolex Submariner is basically a stainless steel sports model from the Swiss watch manufacturer Rolex. I'm sure most of you know this, but just in case somebody out there doesn't know this, that's the basics of the brand. So the Rolex Submariner was basically introduced in 1953. It was made available to the public in 1954 at the Basel World Exhibition in Switzerland. That's basically the biggest watch fair in the world. It happens every year and has done so for a very long time. So it was basically the first diving watch that could go down to 300 meters. So it was what was termed a tool watch. It was designed for divers, and I think the longevity of this watch and its place as an icon, I believe, is down to the simplicity of the design. I mean, you look at this watch, it's just so simple in the way it's designed, and you know, it's become iconic for what a diving watch looks like. If you ask anybody to actually draw or sketch a diving watch, this is probably the watch that they're going to come up with. There's obviously a lot of prestige and history around the brand, and I think a lot of the success and the longevity of the Rolex Submariner is due to its appearance on the big screen, and most famously probably James Bond. You know, Sean Connery, the actor who played James Bond between 1962 and 1983, actually wore the Rolex Submariner reference 6538 in the movies Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger and Thunderball. So in some of these movies, the original Rolex Oyster bracelet has been swapped out for a NATO bracelet. On some of them it's been swapped out for a leather strap. Who knows, in the future maybe it'll be changed out for a Vulcan watch strap on the big screen, who knows, hopefully. But no, I really believe that this the Rolex Submariner has really made its mark in history now, and I guess the only thing that in history that I think Rolex actually missed out on was actually being the first watch in space. Omega actually beat them to that crown and put two watches on the moon with the Apollo 11 mission. You know, Rolex has always been synonymous with high achievers and people that are achieving great things, people that are reaching the heights of Everest, people that are flying across oceans and the first people to do that. I really think Rolex should have been the first watch in space, but you know, that's just my opinion. So, as I say, Rolex Submariner, a great watch, started production in 1953 and made available to the public in 1954. So let's move on to the features of the Rolex Submariner, and we can see what this watch was actually designed for. So let's look at some of the features of the Rolex Submariner then, using the Rolex Hulk. So the main feature of the Rolex Submariner is the unidirectional bezel. This means that it can only be rotated one way. So what the divers do is actually rotate this bezel, and it gives them, basically it lets them know how long they've been underwater for. So whatever time they go into the water, they set the bezel to where the minute hand is, and then they know that's a countdown timer then. So then they know how much air, how much oxygen they've got, and they know what the decompression stops are. So one of the other features of the Rolex Submariner then is the triple lock crown. This is an invention, patented invention of Rolex's. The triple lock crown means that this watch can actually go down to 300 meters. So what the triple lock crown, screw down crown, allows the wearer to do is actually unscrew this, set the time, but then when this is screwed back in, it actually seals the inside of the watch from any pressure or water ingress, which would obviously ruin your watch. So this triple lock crown actually seals the whole body. That, combined with the screw on back, also patented by Rolex, means that this is good for 300 meters, and it can withstand all that water pressure without cracking, without any ingress of water. So that was obviously a must for a dive watch. So one of the other features then is the luminescent numbers around the outside. This is actually a chemical coating inside there, and it's charged by UV rays from the sun. So good if you dive in somewhere like Dubai, be out in the sun, it really hits that luminescence on there, and it really makes that glow in the dark. If you dive in somewhere like a quarry in the UK, you may not get that luminosity when you're that far under the water in the UK, because it really needs a good hammering of charge. You'll probably notice when you're on holiday or something, when you look down at your watch, it's been out in the sun all day, you go back to the hotel room and it's really glaring at you. That's because it's been hammered by UV light all day, and that was a feature for the dive watches, because obviously the deeper you go in the water, the darker everything gets. So that was a good feature to have, so it can be read on the dial without having to use a torch or anything like that. So that's another great feature of that. Another diving feature then is the actual nails on the bezel. These nails were made slightly bigger. I can't remember the actual date that was, but these nails were actually made bigger so that when you've got diving gloves on, you can grip this a lot easier and actually turn the bezel round. So that was another great feature for the diving community. But all in all, this is a diving watch. It's why it's called the Submariner. You know, it's for diving and it's made for that purpose. Right, so I just want to run through some of the Rolex Submariner models, what models are available, what the specifications are, what the retail prices are, and we'll also look at some of the nicknames which these Rolex Submariners have earned over the years. So the first watch we're going to look at then is a Rolex Submariner reference 114060, or the No Date Sub. The No Date Sub is the most basic model Submariner on the market today, simple in the design and missing the date window and cyclops that the Rolex is so synonymous with. This model is elegant and simple, manufactured from a 904L stainless steel body and complete with a 904L stainless steel oyster bracelet. This model looks great with a wetsuit or a formal suit, at the beach or at a cocktail party. Boasting the in-house Rolex 3130 movement, this Submariner really is a beautiful timepiece. Complete with its iconic black dial, the Rolex Submariner No Date is just a class act. This model currently retails at £5750 in the UK, but if you can find one from an authorised dealer, you'll be a lucky person, because this Rolex is hard to come by. There's currently a worldwide shortage, but we'll look into that in another video. So the next model we're going to look at then is the Rolex Submariner reference 116610LN, also known as the Sub Date. This is the No Date Sub's big brother, and this Submariner is very similar to the No Date, but as you would expect, this model has the date window and the Rolex patented Cyclops feature. The Cyclops magnifies the date window by 2.5 times to allow the user to see the date numerals more clearly. This Submariner incorporates the Rolex in-house 3135 movement, and this is a total mechanical masterpiece. with a 40mm case like all of the other current Submariners and integrating the new maxi dial design introduced at Baselworld in 2012. This is one of the most common Submariners you will see around today. Heading back to the maxi dial, this was a design change brought around and incorporated a larger chromolite hour markers, which makes the whole face of the Rolex look a little larger to follow with current trends. Retailing at £6,550 in the UK. This is slightly higher than the no date sub, but you would expect this with the additional date complication. Next up, we are looking at the Rolex Submariner reference 116610LV, also nicknamed the Hulk. I personally own one of these Submariners and it was a watch that I've wanted for a long time. It's very bold and it stands out from the crowd, and it's not for the faint-hearted. I wear mine with an emerald green Vulcan watch strap, obviously, and I think that it looks great. The Hulk is just as good with a suit as a pair of shorts, like all of the other Rolex Submariners, which I believe is one of the great things about the Submariner and why it's so popular. The features of this Submariner are all the same as the previous models, the only difference being the green Cerachrome bezel and the green graduated dial. The dial has a graduated tint to it and it looks great in different lights. This is probably one of my favourite Submariners in the range, and hey, that's why I own one. Currently retailing at £6,950 in the UK. This model creeps up slightly in price over the standard black sub, but these Submariners are now going for around £10,000 on the grey market due to the popularity. So the next Submariner we're going to look at then is the Rolex Submariner reference 116613LB, sometimes referred to as the Bluesy. This is another one of my favourites, and I used to own this one and I really wish that I'd kept it, but needs must, and I had to trade it in against Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore. I'm aiming to get this watch back into my collection just as soon as I can. I wear this with an azure blue Vulcan watch strap and it looks awesome on this reference. The blue was designed to fit with the blue on this watch. This model is commonly what's referred to as the two-tone or bimetal Submariner. The reason? Well, it's manufactured from two dissimilar metals, 18 karat gold and stainless steel, sometimes referred to as the Bluesy due to the absolutely beautiful blue graduated dial. The specification on this Submariner is the same as the 116610LV in terms of movements and features, etc., but has the added luxury and bling of the 18 karat gold highlights. Many people are not fans of the bimetallic look, but I really think it looks great, especially in the blue. A great watch to own and wear with a suit, again, or at the beach. It just looks great with everything. Retailing in the UK at £10,350, we are now starting to creep over 5 figures on this wristwatch. So thanks for sticking with us so far. The next Rolex Submariner we are going to be looking at is the reference 116613LN, sometimes referred to as a Bumblebee, for obvious reasons, the black and yellow colour. So this Rolex Submariner is the brother to the 116613LB. All the features are the same, all the specifications are the same, the movements, the case, but this reference Submariner is black where the previous is blue. Personally, I prefer the blue. I think it looks more elegant, but the black looks cool too in a more understated way. Retailing in the UK at £10,350. This Rolex is a great buy. So now we start looking at the Rolex Submariners for the big players, the kind of Rolex Submariner Mr. T would be proud of.
Cut out the jibber jabber.
So it's the Rolex Submariner reference 116618LB, and this 18 karat gold Submariner is the same in specification as a 116613LB, but where the stainless steel once was, this Submariner is all 18 karat gold. That's right, it's manufactured from solid 18 karat gold. This watch is for you to really stand out. I've personally worn this watch and the weight of it just feels great. I love heavy watches and I'm not a fan of titanium watches for that reason. When I've bought an expensive watch, I like to feel the weight and feel what I've paid for, and I don't feel that you get that with titanium watches. So retailing at a whopping £26,350 in the UK, this really is an investment in risk real estate. So much the same as the previous Rolex Submariner, we now have the Rolex Submariner reference 116618LN. All the same specification wise, the only difference is where the previous was blue, this one is black. Personally, I prefer the blue over the black, but that's just my opinion. What do you think? Hit us down in the comments, which one do you prefer? This retails at £26,350 in the UK. So the final Rolex that we're going to look at today is the Rolex Submariner reference 116619LB, also called the Smurf, for obvious reasons, because it's blue on white. That's right, it's on white gold. This Submariner is manufactured from solid 18 karat white gold with a blue ceramic bezel insert. Now this watch is for the real players. Anybody who doesn't know Rolex Submariners at first glance would think this is a standard stainless steel Submariner, but at 5 times the price of a normal stainless steel Rolex Submariner, the 116619LB sits firmly at the top of the king of the Submariners, or Papa Smurf if you like, retailing at £28,350, a £2,000 upgrade on the 18 karat yellow gold version. Personally, I would pay the extra for the white gold. I just think it looks amazing, and I think this is just the top dog of the Rolex Submariners. So, which Rolex would you choose? If you had an unlimited budget, which one would you choose? Hit us down in the comments below. Would you choose the Hulk? Would you choose the Smurf? Would you choose the Bluesy? Would you choose the Bumblebee? You let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching today, guys. Really appreciate your company. If you found the video informative, please hit that like button. If you enjoy our videos, we post new videos every Saturday. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification icon. That'll let you know when we've uploaded a new video. We cover all different things from the watch industry, from news, reviews, interviews, and information on watches like this. So I've got some great videos coming up for you. Hit the subscribe button. My name's Lee Scott. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.